A whistleblower complaint is adding fuel to push President Trump's impeachment.
Yeah, concerns are growing tonight that Mr. Trump crossed a line with a foreign leader to harm a political foe.
Kick It On's Chris Holmstrom joins us now with that developing story tonight.
That's right. There are some huge developments tonight. Well, the Washington Post is reporting that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is privately speaking with House Democrats on whether or not to impeach the president. The Post is also reporting that the president ordered a hold on a military aid just days before that phone call with the Ukraine president.
We had a perfect phone call with the president of Ukraine.
President Trump speaking out about his phone call with the Ukrainian president. This comes days after a whistleblower filed a complaint about his communications with Ukraine. The question, did the president threaten to withhold foreign aid if the Ukrainians did not investigate Joe Biden and his son?
I put no pressure on them whatsoever. I could have. I think it would possibly have been okay if I did.
The president confirmed they did discuss Joe Biden and his son and also accused the Bidens of being corrupt, but denied putting any pressure on Ukraine to open an investigation.
If a Republican ever did what Joe Biden did, if a Republican ever said what Joe Biden said, they'd be getting the electric chair by right now.
The president claims the former vice president abused his position to help his son Hunter, who worked for a Ukrainian gas company at the time, but there is no evidence of wrongdoing. He went on to say he may release a transcript of the call, though he and others in the administration thought it could set a bad precedent.
I can do it very easily, but I'd rather not do it.
Biden urged the president to release the transcripts while congressional lawmakers press for further investigation. In fact, House Democrats are also pushing for the release and at this point appear to be at a breaking point, calling for a push to impeachment.
I don't think we have a choice. Under the Constitution, we must move forward with impeachment proceedings.
Currently, there are 137 Democrats that have come out in favor of starting impeachment proceedings, and there could be additional Democrats in the coming days.
That may be the only remedy that is co-equal to the evil that conduct represents.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi also gave a warning in a letter to House members saying that if the administration does not turn over the complaint to Congress, they will be entering a grave new chapter of lawlessness, which will take us into a whole new stage of investigation. Republican lawmakers also speaking out.
It is possible to do something that is wrong and not be an impeachable offense, and people around here are throwing that term around so loosely. It's lost all meaning.
Okay, so what happens next? Well, the House Democratic Caucus will meet tomorrow to discuss this whistleblower controversy and where they'll go from here. Jeff, we'll send it back to you on the desk.
Okay, Chris, thank you.